Team Liquid is under a lot of pressure with the fan expectations that they are now the best team in the North American LCS.
Wow, should be able to get one more hit. High gets out alive by the skin of his teeth. That's the damage coming in. Double kill for Sneaky.
Dominating performance over the #1 Team Liquid.
With Liquid starting off really well in the first week, they looked a little shaky. It seems like they still have some things to iron out.
TSM had a very TSM-like game yesterday. And guess what? They won.
One hit from Dead. Wild Turtle sure to clean this fight up.
Team Solo Mid came into the split just like everybody thought they would.
That's a team that very rarely loses to a team like Liquid. I think it's the Edge TSM.
Welcome everyone to Week 2, Day 2 of the 2015 North American League Championship Series Spring Split. The crowds are going wild here in Los Angeles. Excited for some games today on Sunday. And of course, earlier, CLG walking into the studio. They've got a big game today against Cloud9. Both of those teams had fantastic games yesterday, and they have a chance to leave the week, CLG that is, sharing first place. So I'm excited to see what they bring today. Now, why settle for one big game when we've got 5 explosive matches lined up for you to enjoy? Hello, I'm James Dash Patterson. On the analyst desk today are Joshua Jet Leesman and Aiden Zyrene Moon. How you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Yeah, this
Really
is going to be another big day of LCS. It's almost like a super day of LCS, but in all honesty, it's the day of the Super Bowl. I'm looking forward to LCS and then maybe...
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Yeah.
There's a lot of competition going on today. Now, yesterday, we had a lot of new faces in the NALCS. Piglet, Impact, Avalon. So let's give these guys a report card. Jat, how did they do?
Not well. I would give them a D. And some school systems don't even give Ds, like where I'm from in Canada, C- for that one. But honestly, it is only one game, so it was a rough start for some of these guys. Some of them were camped, but Piglet didn't bring masteries. That's a fail in a lot of ways. Avalon didn't really look like he had any sense of what to do in lane swaps. And in general, the Korean players just didn't perform yesterday.
Yeah, it was really the North American LCS high school, and we were picking on all the new kids there, just showing them what's up here in NA. And every team came with the strategy of camp the new guy, put them off of their, like, they're very uncomfortable in this new team, just make them even more uncomfortable being behind in the game. So they really couldn't do anything.
Well, they have a lot of time to develop as new players. There was one other huge figure yesterday, and that, of course, was the champion Callista. On top of being flashy to watch, she was, killing champs, taking names.
Yeah, and Sneaky's Callista is the one that stood out to me personally out of all of them. He has a deeper understanding of the character, the champion, more so than anybody else. He understands that the passive, when you go backwards, you go further backwards. But when you shoot a Q, you go further forwards when you're using that. That is not in the tooltip. And also the E, when you're using the rend, when you're stacking it up on somebody, it has about 1,000 range where you can detect and actually activate your E. If somebody flashes out of that 1,000 range or goes further than it, you can then turn to a minion, throw a spear at them, you then get the activation availability on your E, and then you hit your E and you hit the person who had flashed away because it extends the range to about 1,200 in terms of detonation versus detection.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of yet to be seen how the ripple effect of that Callista play evens out for the LCS. I wonder if it's going to be something these guys just get banned out, or whether it's going to be a champion kind of like Lee Sin in the jungle, where unless your AD carry can learn that champion, you're going to have to ban it away. And I just don't think we've necessarily seen the counterplay to Callista. We saw a lot of Callista with a lot of the counters banned out against it. I wonder if we're going to see some of that today.
Well, definitely a very nuanced champion, so
yeah,
a lot to learn about her still.
Everything was picked up by Cloud9 too. When they picked the Callista, they're like, let's take all the single target lockdown, Aurelia point and click, Lissandra, Annie, Vi. They took pretty much everything that you would use against it. And then I asked them about it, and they're like, oh, I guess we're just kind of lucky.
Well, hopefully we see things develop with that champion today. I do want to pull up the standings and take a look because the NALCS is divided right down the middle. Of course, in the top half, we have newcomers Team 8 and Gravity, as well as our defending champions TSM. Each of them have 2 wins. And in the bottom half, teams like Cloud9, Dignitas, and Coast. Those teams are holding 1 win and 2 losses. The field may start to shake out, though, after our 5 games today, with Counterlogic Gaming up first against Cloud9. After that, Dignitas will will take on Winter Fox, followed by TSM squaring off against Team Liquid. Then we'll conclude our day with Coast versus Gravity. And of course, if it's hashtag big plays you're after, then we've got you covered. Here are a few of the granddaddy moments from yesterday's action. Coming in at number 3 from Teammates' great win over Coast, at DDRocks13 says, "The binding heard around the world. Dodo is your number 3.
Looking to take out Jez's before the fight starts, just like happened mid.
Oh, Mashman gets in with the binding! What a play from Dodo! That could be it! What a bind coming from Dodo! Now the Nexus turret falls, the Nexus is going down, and Team 8 is gonna take the game over Coast!
That is what ended the game. Even though it's the most silly thing of a little binding going through, Mash is in the wrong spot, and the team didn't have the items to get him out of it. No QSS, no Mikhails at that moment in time. Made it a big play.
Who says dodos are extinct?
I'm going to let that be. Next up, the play that reminds us even the pros have their mortal moments. And we went with this mostly because of the awesome tweet. At Dr. Kepper says, "What the hell? I just got killed by a random Ezreal in my game that came from another game." Let's take a look.
Just to get this inhibitor down, Hanser may be 1,000 to himself now. He's being greedy.
Oh!
Oops! If you run an artillery-style team comp, you cannot shoot your arcade barrage backwards.
So what ended up happening there is he had moused over to the left and hit the champion portrait of his teammate Shifter in the Xerath, so it automatically just aimed him in that direction. But I think he was actually aiming for Kobe's sanity, and he hit.
Yeah,
took that thing right out.
Do that.
And definitely a slight misplay there, but in all honesty, the heat of the moment, can't blame him too much for it. At least his mouse went in the right direction.
It's a big misplay.
The ability went in the other.
It's a feature that's existed forever, and you don't see people miss Ezreal loss like that, so he clicked in the wrong place.
That's just day I learned.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And finally, Afro and Double Lift going ballistic. At Wince22 Welp says, "LCS big plays can retire for the weekend. Rush Hour pulling off the Flash Blitz Pull Fates Call combo to perfection. Rip Zhao Wei Zhao." And at E Hammond 22 said, "If that Ballista Pull doesn't make the top 5 LCS big plays, I'll eat my mouse pad." Looking at you, PTL. Let's roll the Ballista.
The mid under fire, CLG relentless this game. And Tip missing. Oh, the flash hook! They got him! Zhao Wei Zhao goes down. That was beautiful. The Ballista play pulled off perfectly right there. They saw the opportunity. Double and Afro make a highlight play.
It's actually a very interesting use of game mechanics there, and is completely intended, by the way.
Yeah, it was super cool. And the one thing that wasn't even noticed by me when I watched that play the first time is when Blitz finishes the pull, he's guaranteed the knockup from the Callista ultimate, which is why even after the flash away, Zhao Wei Zhao was still basically stuck in place, so he could go and then hit him again with.
Right, I was gonna say, you follow that up with another power fist, and it's just you're hating your life.
You're gone.
You're hating your life, especially as a Xerath of all champions. Well,
you want to stay far away.
Yeah, no doubt we are in for more of those memorable moments today. So call them out on Twitter with the hashtag LCS Big Plays. With those Ballista moves still dancing in our heads, though, we wanted to see what 2 champions do you think synergize the best, and what name would you give them? Send us your LeBroms, your Narvins, or your Curse of the Sad Bullet Times. Tweet at LoL Esports and use the hashtag LCS. There were a number of champions released in the offseason, and among them, though, Azir specifically, for the players that master his mechanics. He could be a game changer.
Azir is a champion that if I think you can play him perfectly, then he's just completely beyond broken. But the problem is that no one can play him perfectly, and I don't think anyone will ever be able to play him perfectly.
With a word, I end you.
Azir is just a champion that scales really well and does consistent damage with his soldiers in teamfights.
You can poke someone down to like half HP without them even having vision of you, really. His Q range is really long, and if you land the Q, then you're going to land 2 or 3 autos late game, and that's enough to take someone very, very low.
这个英雄相对来说还是比较容易发育，因为他可以用他那个 W 技能来帮助他补刀，他可以站在非常安全的地方，然后就可以补到小兵。
Nothing is beyond my reach.
The passive, as in building the tower, I think it's best used if you're trying to set up wave control in one lane. You can just set up the tower, you'll slowly get the wave control and get your wave pushing, and you can make another play on the other side of the map. If they go for the Azir turret, you have the rotation on the other lane, so it can really be a distraction and a zoning tool.
Never cross an emperor.
His ultimate is also a game changer. I feel like there's going to be a highlight play soon of someone playing Azir in competitive where he just like jumps to one of his soldiers, flashes, and then knocks the entire team back like some sort of insect play with his ult.
Grab number 2 misses, and Phoenix!
Oh, Phoenix right in the middle of the fight with shifting sands.
Once you reach the later stages in the game, if you have a comp where he can really peel for a strong AD carry, for example, using his ult, he can just be really, really powerful. It's like having a second AD carry doing constant damage. If you don't kill him and you don't kill the AD, you're definitely gonna lose the team fight.
我觉得打这个英雄的话，你对线肯定会有点难，然后你会尽量选一些突进型刺客类，然后让打野帮助你，然后一起去gank他。
He just dies to ganks really easily. His HP is like wet paper. You usually aren't picking up any defensive items until after your Grail and Morale-Nomicon, your Stinger, and your Death Cap. And then by then you need Void Staff, so you aren't really looking at anything defensive until your very last item, so it's very easy to just get picked out.
Oh, that banks some gold. Going over to Pole Belter.
Azir is a really high risk, high reward sort of champion in that if you mess up your ultimate by even a tiny bit, or if you E incorrectly, then you're just gonna die immediately. But if you can position your ult properly, that can just single-handedly win a team fight. He's just a very difficult champion to play, but he can be really rewarding.
And we've already seen a few impressive Azirs so far this split. What's your impression of the champion so far?
I think it's really damn strong. I think that this champion has a high margin for like skill cap, and also has a high margin of error too. You can mess up, and also there's a lot of counterplay to it, but the ranges on it are a little far right now, and I know that Daniel Klein's looking at it for 5.3.
Yeah, I remember actually in the office we have a quote board, and on it says dash, Azir will never see competitive play. I think it was dated in like December or something.
Yes, I said that when the champion was released and was bug-ridden beyond belief. And
we'll
actually,
never see
it was taken out of context.
It's not a context
we don't need
board.
to have this. Yeah, it's not a context board. It's a quote board. So somebody took a very, very small part of the statement. I mean, whatever. We're not going to have this argument right now.
Yeah. I think he's going to see a lot of competitive.
I agree.
Personally.
He is a very high skill cap champion. He's played well with the 4 buffs he's seen since then. Anyway, now we're going to send it over to the caster desk for the call of Game 1.
Thank you very much, Dash. And by the way, I thought Nara was going to get played too. I was right on that one. So you are just horrible against me, Dash. But anyway, guys, what's up? I'm David Freak Turley. With me is the man who demands a funny intro from his co-casters, Sam Kobe Hartman Kensler.
Still waiting.
It's going to be a while. Going to get the game started right away, guys. This is our first match. Counter Logic Gaming versus Cloud9 is going to be a wonderful match here. Yesterday, both these teams, you can hear the crowd likes these guys a whole bunch. They had the dominating performances. They outplayed their opponents individually. They had great team-wide decision-making. They took objectives well. Both these teams look great.
Yeah, Cloud9 in particular, they were playing like they had something to prove because of the week 1 failure, and Lemonation was a carry support. He got 3 early kills on Annie, and his bottom lane partner Sneaky was on a rampage with Kalista. And they didn't just win the laning phase, by the way. They were waging psychological warfare on Team Liquid's new high-profile AD carry, Piglet. Sneaky admitted in his interview afterwards that their plan was to put Piglet on tilt. And to illustrate how far ahead Sneaky got, he was up 31 CS at 10 minutes in.
That's ludicrous. That's actually just I would just hate life if that was me. But Sneaky, of course, reported that CLG's Rush Hour duo lane, their bot lane, gave them some of their toughest fights in the offseason. So the high-level AD carry skills definitely going to be in play here this match.
Yeah, and both of those guys played Kalista. Doublelift also had a flashy game. And like we saw in the LCS big plays, the Kalista plus the Blitz grab allowed them to get picks from an entire screen away. So I will expect that she will be banned away in this game or picked very early on. But another player that showed up big yesterday was Link. Tip activated CLG's Snake Trap with Cassiopeia, and Link successfully pulled off the ultimate flash to turn fights in their favor.
Yeah, they played really well around that guy, but we're going to get ourselves into the starting lineups right now on the blue side. Unleashing the Hounds is Counter Logic Gaming, Zion Spartan in the top lane, Smithy in the jungle, Link in mid, Doublelift on AD carry, and Aframu on support.
And on the red side, it's Cloud9. Up top is Balls in the jungle, Meteos, mid, high, AD carry, Sneaky, and support Lemon Nation.
This is going to be just a glorious match right here. CLG, if I understand correctly, sitting on 2-1. C9 trying.
That's a good guess. You can't.
About half the teams are there. C9 at 1-2 here, so a win for Cloud9 puts them tied for the middle at 2-2, even after a very rough early start to the season. CLG though could guarantee themselves a tie for first place at the end of week 2 if they can win this match, bring themselves to 3-1 in this game. Looks like we do have bans working out, guys. So first ban, Annie, elimination. Looking like Kiwi Kid here.
Yep, so Annie, one of the really popular supports to combo with Kalista. Gonna have to keep a very close eye on the bans to see what type of Kalista counters they ban out, as well as the things that work really well with her. Because as we know, both of these AD carries have fallen in love with the champion.
And it's interesting to see the Cassiopeia banned, knowing that Hai would be able to last pick and counter pick it. We typically see Assassins and super long-range mages as the counter picks here. Doesn't want to deal with it at all. Kalista, of course, goes away from Sneaky, even though Double could have first picked it.
And the thing is, Cassiopeia can be played in the top lane as well. So banning that out is actually a strong decision because Zan Spartan's a carry top laner. Cassiopeia actually even like her more in the top lane. She has a lot of really good matchups in the top lane. Last ban, by the way, is Lissandra, just barely showing up there before the insta-lock from CLG. Rumble for Zion Spartan. They do take it away from balls, and already CLG set up with that glorious mid-game team fight that Rumble brings.
And this is going to be one of, I want to say, very few Rumbles we've seen in North America specifically. I know we've seen them a couple times, but not super often. Rek'Sai comes in from Meteos, LeBlanc in for balls, although they'll likely be high with Kassadin banned here. Now, Meteos, he just actually broke a promise to me. You see, he came in and said, okay, so every single game, I just play whatever beat me last time. And just kept, hopping onto the new champions. He won his last game. He's supposed to stay on Vi. Meteos is a dirty liar.
What was the thing that beat him before he won his game?
He was champion.
Rek'Sai?
He played what, Elise and then Rek'Sai and then Vi, and then he won on Vi, so he has to stay.
Well, he's going with Rek'Sai this time around, Freak, and you cannot question his decision there because very strong champion on this current patch, especially with Jarvan banned out. Meanwhile, some interesting single target lockdown here with Vi, my favorite champion in the game at the moment. Going to be locked in, comboed with Morgana. Now, I really like the double pickup here because Morgana is one of the biggest problems for Vi to deal with.
Yeah.
Very aggravating when her target gets a black shield on it. So it's always a good cover-up to actually draft her on your team when you have Vi as well.
And it gives CLG some really nice things they can do. The Dark Bindings to set up fights, you layer an Equalizer on top of that, and just the counter engage if you dive into these guys. Rumble ult plus Morgana ult makes things kind of scary, so I already like CLG's look, and they can really go anywhere with their, I assume, mid lane and AD carry pickups, but heck, we saw Morgana into LeBlanc yesterday, and it arguably should have gone really well for Pavelter when that happened.
It could be another attempt at the mid Morgana versus LeBlanc. First time around didn't quite work out so well because Pavelter got targeted really early with ganks. This time around, though, it will provide a lot of defense against Rek'Sai ganks as well. I like it for the bottom lane. Anytime you have a jungler with some quick CC that's a physical damage jungler, Morgana is just such a great bottom lane support to lock in, just so you know you don't have to worry quite as much about that lane and getting ganked.
Yeah.
Really hard to break through Morgana shield when the bottom lane support locked in is Janna. She doesn't have much magic damage to help break through it.
Yeah, I actually am very surprised to continually see Janna picked against Morgana in the lane matchup. Just how well Black Shield deals with Monsoon and the fact that I just feel it's pretty risky here. Now, Cloud9, of course, are going to sit on their AD carry pick for last, make sure they really know what the bottom lane matchup is. Seems with Kalista off the table, there's nothing contested that either team is rushing to pick up here. CLG forced to put in their entire team composition.
So they already have the Morgana and Rumble, so if you add Caitlyn to that, it's actually a fairly strong siege, and they do also have the option of split pushing since they've got that Zed locked in. So anytime you get this CLG squad up against the tower, the Zion Spartan ultimate, since everybody's bunched up in a lane, he can just lay that down, and you get a lot of time for Caitlyn to auto attack and get a lot of damage down on that turret. Quirky locked in on the other side, though. Very well-rounded here, team for Cloud9. That actually does peak pretty strong in that mid game. We'll see if Hai can get control of the mid lane and start roaming around. Anytime you have two assassins mid lane, I always like to see who gets the first jungle gank there, because a jungle gank in mid lane then allows your mid laner to gank other lanes for you. So kind of cascades from jungle pressure mid into pressure all over the map.
And I have to agree with you, Copen, especially with both these junglers being rather potent early on, Rek'Sai and Vi. Both very scary bruisers to deal with.
Yeah, people really underestimate Vi's pre-6 ganks. If you just put in a few games on this champion, your flash gank pre-6 is really, really strong. You will guaranteed at least get a flash for your flash in the trade, as long as you don't really mess up your flash queue.
Well, there's the handshake. Coach is heading off the stage here. They've given what advice they could to their teams, and hopefully they do a good job from there. Counterlogic Gaming, they've got the split push Zed, which I feel like is going to be pretty scary. Link so far has been playing well in the LCS. We'll see if he can keep that up. But guys, the teams are loading in, so share your predictions with us by tweeting hashtag CLG win or hashtag C9 win to @LOL Esports. We'll be, of course, updating the vote throughout the game. There's the crowd wonderfully color-coding themselves blue and red. You guys did a great job of that.
Yeah, these are two of the most high-profile clubs in North American League of Legends. Very large fan bases, as you can hear in the crowd. Counterlogic Gaming at the top of the standings at the moment. See if they can keep up there. Now that they have Zion back in the fold, working with the team. He's actually one of the guys that had to take a game off, or 1 week off for the opening week.
Yep. Well, he's been the target of some shots, of course. High has been attacked a few times from his games in the early beginning of the split, but Doublelift himself says he respects his opponent, and haters gonna hate.
High has set, for 2 years, he set the standard of playing well and making smart decisions, and now when he's falling off, people will, I guess they just come out of the corners, the people who didn't like him from the very beginning, and they put on their loudspeaker and they say, okay, he was never good. He was always like this. There was never a point where he was good. He was always playing stupid and always feeding in lane. Everyone just trash talks me whenever I do something stupid or lose a game or whatever. I feel like it's expected, and as a pro player, you have to understand, like, that's just part of the job.
Minions have spawned.
Strong words there from Doublelift. Everybody seems to forget the past 2 years that High and Cloud9 have been atop the North American scene just after one faulty week. However, though, they cleaned it up very, very well yesterday. Week 2, they've come out really strong. This time, no surprise once again, Cloud9 go with a lane swap. Almost every game this season so far, they've started with these lane swaps. He's not going to go with the farming behind the tower that Doublelift liked to do yesterday. Sneaky's just going to go with a regular, bunching up the minions, get it to push in their favor, focusing all of their damage onto the front melee minion. Elimination, I also like how he hides in the bush during the beginning stages of the freeze, just to keep CLG guessing where the support is. Yeah. Never want to give away any unnecessary information, especially in lane swap situations.
Definitely very smart. What interested me here as well is that both junglers got to start on the greedy side of the map. Both started on the weak side, didn't get punished for it. The top laners were helping, I believe, in both these cases.
Very early back from the Cloud9 support, Lemonation drops a ward in the furthest lane bush there, so that Sneaky will be protected from any weird lane ganks, as well as Zion Spartan trying to hide in the bush to soak up CS.
We've seen this before.
Heads down bottom to help Balls. Yeah, Balls plus Lemonation are actually big fans of doing the top laner plus support laning, especially when he can grab one of those range champions. A couple more seconds though, and he will lose his range.
I'm just a little bit concerned about how this match will play out, though. I feel like it goes pretty heavily into Doublelift's favor, but
well, it definitely
tracking ball CS.
Yeah, it definitely does. Caitlyn, especially plus Morgana, is going to have a pretty easy time pushing them in. But Caitlyn, with the range advantage over all other AD carries anyway, Doublelift would be playing a very similar style, whether he was facing Sneaky or Balls. Morgana does bring that extra added threat. The swayed Balls from being greedy and going for CS. Now this is the old patch, by the way. Smithy was able to back and not only upgrade his jungle item, but also grab several wards. Early jungle control as far as the vision is concerned here. Smithy looking to get some deep vision in Cloud9's side, which is something that Cloud9 usually prioritize a lot earlier on. But Meteos has just been hard farming with Rek'Sai. Hasn't dropped his ward yet.
And it's been overall very good from Smithy. He defensively pink-warded mid lane, got the green ward down more aggressively to watch the right side of the jungle, and so far I think it will.
Meteos will find him a little bit too late. He has the sonar there, so doesn't have to face check Smithy. Alerted to his presence, Smithy gets away with large wolf as well as one small.
Is he going to stay for the ward? Nope. Afraid of high. Good defense.
Zion Spartan in the top lane. Put a lot of 1 versus 1 harass down on Sneaky. Elimination back from his warding trip down bottom. I guess they're not going to keep up with the support plus top laner duo down there. Sneaky was not able to bully Zion Spartan because he started with the double jungle. He got up to level 4. Sneaky didn't have the extra levels to bully.
Yeah, so far, CLG has done the best at holding on against what's normally so good for C9 with their lane swap. Smithy looks for a push onto balls, though.
Shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, nothing to go for here.
Just a zone.
But it does clear basically a double wave away from the turret. You can see how many casts were there. A lot of golden XP lost by balls. The teleport from Zion's going to catch most of this.
Now, the Meteos has not shown on the map, so that teleport could be a little bit risky. Zion does not know that Meteos is on his side. Balls trying to soak up some experience, get in range. They zone him out though, so here comes Meteos. Okay. See if Zion's teleport does cost him.
Got flash. Meteos going to go for the knock after elimination. Pulls aggro. It's going to be the flash away from Zion, but good escape. Now Meteos has aggro. Forces summon or heal. Barely survives. Zion trades flash for much more.
These towers are still extremely potent. 3-person dives are fairly hard to pull off. Zion does a good job using his flash to avoid enough damage that they can chase off Meteos, and Zed comes in to try and clean it up top. But Link is seen by the pink ward, and all of Cloud9 back off. That earned them a tower advantage, because the difference between junglers, Smithy just went to try and zone balls off, whereas Cloud9, Meteos, they actually go for the dive, and because it fails, CLG gained their first large lead of the game.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think the big reason why the zoning worked, though, is Balls understood that Vi Morgana actually deals some good damage early on.
A binding is definitely...
Right, exactly. Whereas Janna, like, okay, she pulled aggro, but didn't get to do much otherwise, so the actual 3-man group, better for CLG, paid off, well done. BF sword now for Caitlyn as well, so Doublelift is menacing to lane against right now.
And we mentioned the CLG team grouping up for the towers as well. Whenever Caitlyn does get an early lead like this, you want to try and knock down as many outer turrets as you can before Corki hits Trinity Force and is able to get his level 6 and start poking you back. So Doublelift with that BF sword is going to be a really big indicator of what CLG are looking for towards the mid game here. If he just wants to try and bully Sneaky down bottom, or if they actually start rotating him over to try and pressure other outer turrets. It's like they still want CS on Link, so they're keeping him.
So far, so good for him. He's actually winning his lane with, I believe, 0 interference up against high. And that's also with Smithy absorbing a wave when he had recalled out.
Yeah, it was with 0 interference from Meteos, plus he was very confident that Meteos was not even close to ganking because Smithy spent so much early time warding around the mid lane. CLG's focus in their vision has been mid lane. You can see it. They've got pink wards on both sides, even a little bit deeper of a green ward here. So they're keeping Zed very safe for the early stages, letting him farm up until he does get... looks like he's going for Bork first, rather than the Brutalizer.
I feel like I usually see Cutlass Brutalizer.
Yeah.
I think it mostly depends on when you get to back, but he also added the Null Magic Mantle to make sure he's not under threat from high. So the 1v1 potential not really there from the LeBlanc. The wave clear seems to be happening first from Link, so he's most enabled to make
There's
moves.
the first roam. We were looking for the first roam from mid lane. Looks like it does come from Link. Targeting balls. He does have his flash, but still a very squishy Gnar as he's started just the Doran's Blade plus Longsword build. Hasn't gone into the tanky build. Looks like he is going to try and get a little offense first.
Still going to do the pink ward clear high. Oh no, they're going to defend the CLG. Not worth going for the ward. They want to make sure they don't get picked off unnecessarily.
Small victory.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. The early rotation. Sneaky and Lemon both showed up mid out of nowhere.
Now, the thing is, this tower's not very low because Hai was not able to pressure Link since the vision was all in Link's favor. So even if they do get a split-second head start up here on the mid turret, wouldn't be able to get much.
No, they tried to make the play, it didn't happen. They have to run immediately back to the bot lane as Doublelift pushed it up.
Yeah, lose out a couple minions even for that.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. Usually with tier 1 dead, you get a bit more grace period, but Sneaky is going to lose out on the entire melee wave. Should get the rest, but still lost gold.
Have not been there.
I know he lost 1 or 2 melees. I'm almost certain of that, but wow, Ball is forced to flash away in the 1v1. Zion burns his ult for the privilege, but super worth it. CLG's newest acquisition, clearly doing very well so far.
Yeah, he was pressuring Sneaky solo, forced elimination.
Oh, wow.
Binding!
So many ults, that's all it's going to take. Goodbye to Hai. After makes that one happen, even gets first blood for the privilege.
All right, and that makes it much easier for this Caitlyn to start knocking down the outer turret.
Oh my god, Sneaky!
Another binding! Aphromoo and the skill shots. It doesn't have to be Blitzcrank. Throwing out a couple bindings here and earning his team a lot of pressure. They actually give up on the mid-siege and go for Dragon Control instead, sweeping out the river and gaining the crab. Looks like they want to purchase before actually starting the Dragon, instead of trying to take advantage of the time that Hai has to walk back from base. Maybe they feel like their damage at this point is not quick enough to take it, and Corki is, post 6. Rockets are very annoying while you're doing Dragon. Don't want to risk taking too much damage from it.
It's true. And Double even just went for an Average Blade here. He's actually slowing his early damage progression by denying Pickaxe, denying the early Infinity Edge. So maybe CLG taking it a little bit slower than they would have otherwise. This turret taking a lot of damage off those recalls from CLG. They basically took those kills, took a Scuttle Crab, and then recalled, which gave some space for C9 to make moves.
Link able to handle the wave clear himself. Zed's good for clearing one wave like that, but he definitely needs backup as all of Cloud9 swing down. Meteos taking the opportunity to invade jungle, get those wolves back. Scott has fully upgraded Stalkers, however, Zion under turret already had a hard time taking him down. Dragon will be traded just for the effort top, and they don't even go for the dive.
Really nice by CLG. They'd already swept the pit out in the first place. Just the 2 guys that can jump over walls. They let them sneak in there. Easy duo.
Plus they have this ward up here.
Yeah, very nice. CLG so in control of this game. They are not letting Cloud9 do absolutely anything.
A lot of focus on Zion here from Cloud9. Zion handling it very, very well. Going for an early Zhonya's too. Not even going for the Haunting guys on Rumble. Wants to rush into the Zhonya's.
I'm seeing that so much this year, actually. That all 2014 was all about the Leandry's Rush. This time around, I'm seeing so many Zhonyas. Haven't done the math on the damage last year, but he's clearly prioritizing not getting blown up by champions like LeBlanc. Hai, another bind hits. Link gets some nice damage down. And bot lane tier 2 goes down. CLG just taking double for Nick Smithy there.
So that was just a beautiful move across the map from CLG. They are controlling Cloud9 so well. Cloud9 having to play all reactively, which is fairly rare for them. CLG rotations indeed.
So, slow and steady winning the race. The Caitlyn, despite going Average Blade, doesn't need the extra damage, is still knocking down turrets successfully. Hai goes for some wave clear. Black Shield, who cares?
I really like the greed here from Doublelift. He won't be punished for this because they're using Caitlyn as this wave shover and turret taking AD carry that she is at the moment with her extremely long range, moving him across the map to points where they don't have to fight team fights. They're just fully using Doublelift to take minion waves and turrets, not punished for the absence of the pickaxe, just gaining a lot of extra gold from that Average Blade.
I think that they actually preempted Trinity Force power spikes and were super aggressive even before that happened. Blue buff attempt coming in. Oh, I think Hai got it, and Smithy will die for his hubris. CLG though, Afro goes in. Nice ult. In comes Zion from the back. Bindings dodge, but Elimination's gonna go down. Bit of a coup by CLG.
Teleport advantage for Cloud9 now. So they use that teleport just to answer one kill on the support. It also leaves Balls some time here to solo farm, which He definitely needs. He's been a little bit punished in the early game, and they would really like to have him be the front man. They need that tank on the front line. Without him, a lot harder to engage. Also able to pick up the global gold here, so Cloud9 clawing their way back.
Thankfully for Ballsy, answered the turret that Zion had taken, I believe, right before the teleport. C9 actually lost 2 tier 1 turrets right before that fight, mid and top.
This huge gold lead, though, that CLG got from all the early turrets that they knocked out is going to be very, very big if they do actually decide to go for a team fight. Infinity Edge now completed for double lift. Trinity Force, though, I don't think CLG would like to force team fight. Probably just continue with the strategy they're going with at the moment. Zion also, the thing about going for Zanyas really early is that there's a huge time where you have, oh, okay, so he's not going for the full Zanyas.
So arm guard for the armor facing Rek'Sai Gnar.
As well as the efficiency, just stacking up the arm guard. Very efficient item.
Yeah.
Stack up that extra AP. So he got that really early on, and it's fully stacked now for the time that they might actually group. Link sent down bottom, so they're going to have the split pushing with Zed. People cheering for the CS abilities. It was impressive, able to get all those under the turret. Zed is a very strong champion, to say the least, for CSing under turret because of his passive.
They're below half. It's pretty much a one-shot, but heck, good job to him. So, Cloud9, they have lost every single lane except the jungle, I would say. And the fact that only Rek'Sai has good CS here, of course, all their turrets getting destroyed so rapidly. Everything going well Counterlogic's way. Caitlyn scaling up really well off her high CS. iEdge already done.
And the thing is, with CLG having this much map control, with all of the turrets getting knocked down, look at the network for Meteos that he's been able to set up. His tunnel network is severely lacking. He only has 1 tunnel left over on the red side jungle. CLG have cleared out the entire map, so no surprise Rek'Sai plans. He's pretty much just been hard farming this whole time. You mentioned that CS that he has over him. It is true, but Smithy's been able to make good use of his ultimate. As Meteos will have a tough time.
Jeez, those bindings! Afromu making so much happen in this game. Going for the early Zonias as well. So right now they're sieging and picking things off. But 1,500 gold from now, the team fights themselves also going to be scary. When you can pop Zonias and ult.
I'm just waiting for the point where Cloud9 decide they're tired of CLG's map control and they want to just call in balls for a teleport or a flank and go for an all-in. They would have to combo it with a good flash from Meteos, though. They may be waiting on Meteos' flash. Rek'Sai, at this stage in the game, they really would rely on his knockup, and they definitely need him to be able to get to double lift. Without flash, that's fairly difficult.
You guys took no time getting back to that word sharing thing.
Well, this is a really, really well-played strategic game from CLG, especially considering they're facing Cloud9.
Oh, absolutely.
Who are usually on top of their wave control.
I am absolutely impressed by them. And this is something that CLG talked about with Zion joining in, if I recall correctly. He's a pretty vocal player. He would come in and talk about things on the top side of the map, so CLG's got vocal input from every single spot on the map. Everyone's calling out where the minion waves are, what turrets are available. There's Dragon number 2, no contest again. Counterlogic Gaming playing a nearly immaculate game.
Every time Cloud9 attempted something top to target Zion, CLG took a massive advantage off of it. Whether it be an entire turret, Dragon, shoving on the other side of the map, and Zion Spartan wasn't even in danger. He escaped both times really well.
But on the other side, CLG tried to dive balls, got turrets for it practically both times, forced flash for it, got map control of that, and C9 didn't punish anything on the other side. So it's sort of going both ways here, where the aggressive moves are working, but only for one team. So I should say 3,500 gold lead with 2 dragons up as well. CLG played mostly for ward control the last few minutes of the game.
It's getting really scary here for Cloud9 because double lift. Caitlyn really wants to get to the combination of the Infinity Edge plus a lot of extra critical strike on her build, and she's already almost there. Whereas this Trinity Force has been on Sneaky for quite a while now, and Cloud9 haven't been able to really take advantage. Zion teleports in, takes a large chunk of damage from High. Meteos is...
Link goes in, here comes Meteos. Slows on the Link, gets the knock up, some good early damage. He's got to outplay the Death Mark. Can he do it? High dashes around, gets into the fog, and they get the kill. High's going to get traded back, though.
Link with the Death Rattle is able to kill High. Trading kills and 3 people committed down bottom. CLG, very, very quick decision making. We're shoving up mid. This is the thing, they constantly have pressure on the map in multiple areas. So if Cloud9 commit down bottom, CLG can shove straight up mid. Another turret knockdown for them.
This one's not the farm alarm, guys. Meteos looking for pressure onto Afromu, but the ward's going to keep him safe. Nothing done here. What's crazy about this as well is just before that fight, I checked the vision. CLG had almost 0 wards up on the map. They'd all timed out or gotten cleared before they all recalled. They went for those aggressive moves without knowing where anyone could have possibly been.
Well, you say anyone. They saw 3 people down bottom.
Yeah.
And one of them was the teleport.
But I mean, just to set up the mid lane push, to set up the bot lane fight as well, right? Like, people actually were bot lane, but Double got to push mid because of it.
They have been keeping up their pressure as well as their ward control. I mean, deep wards in both sides of the jungle here for CLG. Yeah, giant gold lead as far as the new patch is concerned, at least.
Man, Afromu so good at these long-range skill shots. The Blitzcrank last game, the Morgana here. A great force for Counter Logic Gaming. Double soon to get Static Shiv. Just scaling up, being that menacing.
I mean, this is going to be really scary. Double lift once he combines. I'm not quite sure which one he's going to want to upgrade first. Probably go Phantom Dancer with the recent changes.
No, not with Afro's Blade.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'll go Static Shiv.
Afro binding. Oh no, High can't juke it. He's going to go down. That's a quick kill picked up. Smithy claims it.
Afro move. Please.
Yeah.
Please, Afro move.
Oh my gosh. Well, these hits are ticking up pretty nice for Counter Logic Gaming. Up double kills, up still 3.7 thousand. Dragons in, I think, 3 minutes, maybe a bit less. But the game has been completely controlled by these guys. The best C9's ever done is traded kills and traded turrets. They've got nothing unanswered. After misses one, the exhaust and the ult comes in. The flash dodges, but there's the Piltover combo. Smithy not going to get the kill though. Sneaky stays alive thanks to a shield. Dodges the Q from Double. If Lemonation very low, gets the crits. Double gets the kill. Balls gets locked up. Even more deaths for Cloud9. 2-0 CLG once again.
They find a large skirmish when Double Lift finally has his double item completion here. Static Shiv, as you said, with the Avarice Blade completed, giving him enough crits on his Infinity Edge to turn that one around. CLG, what a dominating performance here. Beating Cloud9 in all aspects of the game so far. Really working with the Caitlyn pick well, I have to say.
Yeah, the fact that they got 4 turret kills in the first, 13 minutes was astronomically high.
Binding some Afromu at all key moments.
Yeah.
The entire CLG roster really looking like a squad that's ready to keep first place this time around. All right, Double Lift, fancy footwork, does get down in HP, so can't keep trading. Sinks in a couple of sneaky auto attacks. Woo! Sneaky flashes the Q, but Vi's able to get there with the ultimates. Now, at this point, they just don't respect the crits from Double Lift.
Wow.
You can't really expect crits in a row. Was that 3 in a row? It looked like 3 in a row. And you kind of have to feel bad for Lemon.
I actually counted. He was 2 and 4 before that. 2 crits, 4 non-crits.
Yeah.
3 crits in a row on the back end.
It's a little bit of luck also helps in a game where you're just winning through strategic prowess. Double Lift does have the favor of our end Jesus. And
the crowd cheering for CLG's great vision control, which, to be fair, is about as important as champion kills in the first place. So
yeah, when you're running a team that has Caitlyn constantly pressuring lanes as well as a split pushing Zed, I mean, this is not by all means the safest strategy to pull off.
No.
It's very difficult, actually. You have to have confidence in your split pusher. You have to have a lot of confidence in your AD carry not to get caught while she's pressuring like that. And CLG have done it very, very well. Zion Spartan solo man clearing out the wave with his ultimate. Very good choice there. All of Cloud9 committed to the top lane, and he neutralizes all the resources Cloud9 commit to the bottom or the top side with just his ultimate, and allows the double lift link combo to take out 70%. I feel like Lemonation gets crit every single time double lift shoots him.
Well, here's the chance, though, for Meteos to make something happen. Gets the chilling smite down. Balls isn't far away. Double forced to flash. Balls flashing for the slow. This could be double going down. It finally is.
So they are finally able to punish them for this very, very high pressure strategy that CLG are trying to pull off. They do catch one, but they gain so much in it anyway. Smithy barely able to escape.
Mid got pushed out for all the attention bot lane. Of course, nothing else was really gained, but High overextends. Afro finds more.
He finds High. Ball's going to not make any use of his Gnar form as well. Mid laner not present. All right, let's see how CLG close this one out. Dragon control should be easy to maintain. Binding again.
Oh my! I figured it was a bind. I didn't see it.
Not only does double lift crit Lemonation every time he fires a shot, but Afromu hits High every time he fires a binding.
Yeah. I mean, there's so little action, but
you're speechless because CLG are playing so well.
Well, that's the thing is, I think as I said it yesterday, CLG is actually going to look good this year. With Zion Spartan. I think it's finally realized they've gotten a good 5-man roster. The fights are so short, though.
This is ridiculous. You are so shocked right now.
I am and I'm not. It's great to see CLG finally in this kind of form after so many years of their fans waiting. This is the team CLG fans have been waiting for, by the way.
Well, let's see what Cloud9 can do to claw their way back in. They would need to catch someone out once again, take advantage of the Caitlyn split pushing.
And the thing is, C9 have been spending, I would say, half this game forcibly trying to get farm onto Balls. Because they're getting out-rotated, a lot of things are going poorly, except Balls is now winning his CS game against Zion Spartan when he was getting bullied around before. The big tank is really big. Can he survive double lift? I don't know. But that's kind of been the subtle objective this whole game for C9. This Balls Gnar is what I'm watching to see if that pays off.
Gnar can single-handedly turn the tides of the game. For that, he would require his ultimate, though. And once again, Gnar bar full, so he's going to have to wait for another full recharge. CLG, let's see what they do with this opportunity, because they were just mid and saw the Gnar bar expire here at 4 balls. Trying to get vision in the jungle, one of the most dangerous places when you have to worry about Gnar flank. No teleport or flash for him, though.
Sneaky's landing his skill shots, too. We landed a bunch of rockets and Aftermove.
Yeah, Sneaky's always been the consistent guy for Cloud9. Even when they're having a rough game, Sneaky keeping his CS up. He did not die in that mid skirmish, which was very impressive. Levi charging at him.
Yeah, so CLG, though, these skill shots, the long range, just their presence around the map has been so far overwhelming for Cloud9.
Yeah, it's really hard for them to get inside of Doublelift's range. Since Doublelift got such an early lead, the threat of the Caitlyn and the poke that Caitlyn has been able to put out, you know, backed up with bindings, is just really hard for Cloud9 to find their way inside of CLG's vulnerable zone.
Yeah. I think the big thing is going to be a flash and burrow for Meteos. Caitlyn, without flash, is not very good at escaping things like that. Her net will get canceled. She won't move anywhere if you knock her up during that quarter-second animation, or even after she casts it. So,
and by the way, that's tunnel first, then use your flash.
Yes.
Don't flash and then try and use tunnel. Much less reliable. Double lift on the front, though.
Smithy getting spotted out by High as well. Double gets the black shield, burns his net. No escapes available. Balls with the slow
Black
halfway to
shield
Narvar.
wears off.
Meteos still in the front, gets the flash engage. Double down to 800 health, and Link off on the side, kind of locked up. High goes in, forced to get away though from Xfinity. Everyone else now. Ball's getting jumped on, but there's the Narvar. Doesn't land the stun. Smithy forced to flash away. Link very low, throws a house. Can they make this comeback happen? Deathmark used, kill picked up. C9 finding their way back in this game.
That's only 1 kill, though. Baron is a very rough objective to take with just 1 kill. Smithy's really low. They might just feel like they've been backed into a corner here and have to go for it.
CLG
Look at the bottom side. CLG have a huge wave pushing bottom as well. It's going to finish the turret that double lift and Link just put a lot of work in taking down. Rumble Ultimate's available.
This could be the game-winning push for CLG. Zion gets the ulti down. Good early damage. Sneaky at half. Forced to run away. Zion Kaisem gets the knockup, though. But is there enough damage? Oh, the damage on double! Sneaky gets it! Overextension by Doublelift. Meteos now goes in for Xmith. He does not quite land the knockup, but Zion getting chased by this heavily fed Gnar. More flash the way. CLG escape, losing only 1 kill to stop Baron.
They only grab 1 more kill, and their inhibitor turret went down.
Oh, yeah.
All said and done, that was actually good for CLG.
Absolutely
just because of the work they put in earlier in the game with that Link double lift push on bottom. The minions are able to finish the job. Inhibitor line has already been cracked. Cloud9 try to pull off the Baron, but once again, Baron ends up costing the team. Meteos back at it. Rek'Sai's right back down there. I thought he was going for crab control. Looks like he's going to take out the pink ward.
Vision control, of course, incredibly important. Both these teams are going to be pretty quick at killing off Baron if they get time to sneak it.
This is number 4
yeah,
right here.
Number 4 here. They now kill minions 15% faster. CLG, you already had trouble with their Zed split push. Link has been doing a good job of creating pressure on the sides of the map. It's going to get even worse now. Quick ward clear on both sides.
And CLG's battle plan coming into this was just so well thought out. I mean, they had the split push on the bottom, furthest away from Baron. That's going to provide the most pressure for this late game Zed split push. Link can return and put a tremendous amount. You can even see they're pinging out the bottom inhibitor now. Link down there would provide a tremendous amount of pressure for Cloud9 since they just heard the Rek'Sai ultimate. Juggling between Baron and a bottom inhibitor. Looks like CLG gonna just defend the mid right now though. Sneaky's out his Bloodthirster second instead of going Bork, which is extremely popular right now. Feels he needs that shield for all of the assassination potential with a Vi plus Zed, as well as the potential of a Rumble ultimate coming down on top of it.
Smithy loses the Banshee's Veil, forced to get away from that one. Even the Banshee's Veil jungler is half his health high, so the damage threat is there, but of course CLG staying far ahead. Double with some very good poke.
Look at this. Balls.
Oh no.
Rushed a Thornmail after his Warmogs.
Yeah.
So he's looking to take hits from Double Lift. He got a large pool of HP plus the Thornmail. And hoping that Double Lift will kill himself, attacking the main tank.
That'll be difficult though. We'll see if he can make it happen regardless. Black Cleaver coming in for Link eventually would make that a whole bunch easier for Double here. But right now, Chronology Gaming still holding control of this game. The occasional misstep, good poke on a Zion, half HP. High might stay for this one. Zion, get and jump, pops the Zonias, in goes Smithy. It's got to be a bit tricky for Balls, but he's going to stay alive. They pick up the top laner. Sneaky now jumping into the back line, gets a shield, walks away. Balls going to get stunned. Meteos as well. The damage from Doublelift. Can he get it? No, he's forced to run. Balls is on, pulls an Afro move, but Balls will trade his life. High can't get the damage. 1-for-1 top laner's dead. The clone from High tanks the ulti.
That team fight saved by Doublelift freely auto-attacking the entire time. Black Shield protects him from the Gnar ultimate as well. Might have even just been just outside of range. But Sneaky could not commit as well as Doublelift could to as many auto-attacks. Extra range there from Caitlyn helping out a lot too. You can see Link in that fight as well. He used his ultimate on Balls. I thought that was going to cost them. But the consistent damage output from a 3-item Caitlyn auto-attacking the entire time evens it up and swings the fight back in CLG's favor.
And that's the thing. Like, think about how much that fight should have been better for Counterlogic Gaming. Gnar ult stunned one person. Zed ult used on the wrong person. Like, so many things could have tilted these fights so much harder one way or the other if they had hit a better target, hit more targets, things like this. So these fights, though that one was close, could easily swing heavily one way or the other.
You can see how hard it is for C9 to actually take out Doublelift though, since Meteos targeted,
In goes Zed one more time. High's gonna pop zone. Yes, he should survive, but nope. Smithy has something to say about that one. 1-for-0. Counter Logic Gaming in control again.
All right, this should be the. Oh, they're going for more kills.
And the ulti's layered on. Sneaky goes down. Couldn't hide from this one. Mid's available.
Should be an easy inhibitor turret. Maybe even 2 inhibitors off of this one. 35 seconds on Sneaky, 20 on High. CLG complete control inside the base. 2 inhibitors. Well, maybe they'll just end the game.
They could try 15 seconds on High, 25 on Sneaky. Minion Wave coming in about 10 seconds. Dragon's up in 2 minutes.
No reason to play overly aggressive and go for the end. They have so much control. 5th Dragon threat and 2 inhibitors down. This is CLG's game.
From start to finish, too.
Oh, yeah.
The smallest of missteps where they went down 1 kill twice. That's been as bad as any CLG fight has ever gone, is -1 kill. But turret control, nearly immaculate. 8-3, 2 inhibitors down, every single Dragon. On respawn, too. They snuck 1 6 minutes in, and then when it respawns, 3 people are there. It dies again and again. Great play. They played a little bit slower when Double's Flash was down. That went fine. Smithy hadn't seen him in a year, practically. So far, great with Counter Logic Gaming.
Yeah.
Link shaping up well. Zion Spartan, a great addition to the team.
I mean, you can list off every single person on the team.
That's what I did.
Yeah, they each did their parts. Smithy with the early ward control as well. Let's see if they can end it as clean as they started it. 5th Dragon in 1 minute. Here come the elixirs as well.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very difficult to take that fight.
It's really funny to watch a game like this because the kill score would betray how much CLG's been in control. 10-6, you think, oh yeah, close game, 4 kills apart. Not at all.
Not even close. This game is domination.
CLG massively out-rotated C9. There have been, I would say, 3 to 4, honestly, free turret kills, where they just out-rotated so heavily there was no defense. It was a matter of right.
Not to mention, every single Dragon was uncontested.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. All right, well, let's take a look. Cloud9 trying to make a move here up to the top side.
Baron for Dragons is the best choice they could hope for.
Well, 2 inhibitors are down, so they have to do something quickly.
Yeah.
Their backs are against the wall. They're forced into this position, and they're going to do it.
They're just going to hope CLG doesn't look at them. Smithy burned his Q, actually, puts the board down. I don't know if he can Vault Breaker in time. I think he probably will be able to. C9 going to stay for this one, though. Fighting goes down. Good ulti in, and the Dragon went down. So now can they keep fighting? Elimination losing so much health. Ball's likely to die from the Zed. They switch over to Sneaky. So far, Nara's dropped down. It's going to be Meteos also joining him in death. Now Sneaky 1 hit away. That's 3 kills for nothing. By the way, they can teleport into the mid lane. They will do so right now, but Zion gets killed for his troubles. That said, there's still minions coming in. High and Lemon, the only ones surviving. Never mind, just Lemon, the only one surviving, but I think it's going to go sour for C9 here. Double Lift is inside the base. Here comes Nexus turret number 1. I don't see it being defended. CLG fans, here's the team you guys were waiting for. So far, so good for CLG in 2015.
Wow. CLG, first place North American LCS, and they deserve it. That was the most one-sided game that I've seen in quite a long time.
Yeah, it was good decision after good decision after good decision. Good play all around. There's the 2 newcomers to the roster. Smithy and Zion in CLG uniforms. Completely at home, it seems.
Yeah, that's the exact type of game that they would like to play. Not under pressure at any point in the game.
Cloud9, of course, end their week 1-3. This was their redemption week. It looked good yesterday. They took down Team Liquid. You think, all right, C9's turning it around. But of course, every season in the LCS, the teams get better and better and better. Counter Logic Gaming showing that they are now people to be very afraid of.
For Cloud9, these guys, once again, ending the week on a sour note. It's going to be rough for them, but they can regroup, as they showed in the first game this week versus Team Liquid. Maybe showed their hand a little early with the Kalista. Everybody was jumping on it, though. I don't think it was a well-kept secret. It was just because the bug was fixed with her So then all 80 carries jumped on her immediately.
Good number of them, certainly. And that's the thing. Like, it's not like you save it for a special occasion. I mean, fighting Team Liquid is a great special occasion. Then you get to force bans, right?
Exactly.
Like, I wouldn't say it was certainly a bad time to pick the champion up there. Interesting to note that CLG did ban it as opposed to pick it for themselves. Clearly, they have many more things they'd like to go back to, as shown here. Link pulled a ban, still did great on Zed 6, 2, and 4. Wrapping up his keyboard. All I can say is a well-controlled game. It was. Yeah. I don't want to say it was slow because it wasn't. Just the fights were a bit far between and short because it was like binding dead.
37-minute game. That's not long.
Standard. Yeah,
exactly.
Fairly standard. Especially, right, we ran the entire gamut. We got Baron basically dead. We got 5 dragons. We got, everything but 1 turret killed. Like, every objective you could have gotten, you basically did for CLG. Fantasy owners of CLG, by the way. A lot of points
man,
for that
they're
one.
raking it in.
Yeah, but First Blood 2, I believe, just...
They got everything that you could possibly want. I mean, on the new patch, it's really hard to end games even before this as well. So CLG playing it pretty much by the books, ending it right on with the 5th dragon.
And it's been good. Like, they got the early pressure. They kept it the entire time. Very well played by Counterlogic Gaming. For now, we're going to send it over to Riv, though, who's with CLG's man in the top lane.
Thank you very much. I am joined by Zion Spartan back on top for CLG and helping to put CLG on top right now in the records. Obviously, other teams are going to be meeting up here, up there today, but you guys came out very strong. Like Kobe said, that was a very one-sided game. What was CLG's mentality throughout? Were you guys just all smiles?
Yeah, we definitely knew that. Honestly, like when we came back week 2, I just felt like we're gonna 2-0 this week. Like we're gonna do it. We're gonna win. And we came into this game very confident, but we stayed level-headed. And we knew what we had to do, and I got the Rumble pick. We denied the Rumble pick from Balls, and I'm still pretty comfortable on that champion. And we knew that they were going to pressure top. So I got an advantage early in top lane, blew his flash, but what happened was they'd constantly 3-man me and things like that, so I just had to play safe, and then everyone else just did work.
Did you feel any pressure coming back into this week with fan pressure on you or anything like that?
Not really, honestly. Like, compared to like the previous CLG top laners like Seraph or Nien, like the hate or like anything, like the expectations, like I don't really feel any of that at all. So that's a good thing, I guess.
And something you said in one of your videos, that we rolled out before one of your games, is that during your break, you kind of took some time to sit back, see how all the players played on the team, and you really got a lot out of that. Do you think a lot of players can benefit from that?
Yeah, I think you can learn a lot from just being able to watch your team with a different player in your position because you understand their tendencies, you understand how they want to play the game, how they want to play the lane differently when you're the one in the game as well because you're often focusing on your own thing. But when you get that like coaching perspective, it really broadens your view of the game.
All right, very interesting. Next week, you guys have Winter Fox and Gravity coming up. How do you feel about those matches? And will it be kind of a break when you get home or right back to practice?
I definitely don't want to sleep on them. Something that's definitely happened a lot before is just like getting complacent and losing. Yeah, sure, we went 2-0 this week, but teams get better. They have unpredictable strategies. I mean, you saw our level 1 strategy yesterday that nobody brought out, and things like that will happen. So you just always have to be ready, and I'm definitely not going to sleep on those teams. Gravity's looking pretty good.
All right, thank you very much, Zion Spartan. Congratulations on the win. Best luck in the rest of the season. We're going to now throw it over to Dash and the guys on the analyst desk.
Thank you, Riv. A fantastic, controlled, and aggressive game by CLG there. What were the keys to victory, though? Because aside from looking at the fact that they just seemingly dominated all the global objectives, what was it that allowed them to do that?
I'd say lane swapping, honestly. It was a very unexpected play by CLG to go for the lane swap and then also out lane swap Cloud9. If we look back to last week, Balls averaged 40 CS at 10 more than his opponent because Cloud9 was dominating lane swap so heavily. And this game, I felt like in pick and ban phase, Cloud9 was trying to counterpick for Sneaky by waiting for the AD carry. And when CLG locked in the Caitlyn, there is no lane counterpick to Caitlyn. And then not only didn't just do a 2v2 lane, they won the lane swap. So CLG took Cloud9's strategy away from him and outplayed him.
Yeah, that's really what it came down to here is they had the lane swap going for them. And usually, Cloud9, last week we saw them coming out on top, but I think the way that they actually played the lane swap just very mildly different with the shoves. Balls kept teleporting back in and getting chunked out immediately, and he was having a hard time against that Caitlyn too. There's no lane counter for it, and also in terms of top laners, it's really difficult to deal with that long-range Caitlyn. And Afromu was on top of his bindings all game long. Having this guy on a pick support is really big for them, and they really seem to come out and capitalize on when he lands those skill shots.
Of course, then they also had the split push potential with the Zed, which was a huge threat given their early lead. I think that's where I would probably point at them playing their composition so well. The early rotations by Doublelift opening up the map to then say, all right, let's throw Zed in the bot lane, put that damage on that bottom turret, which then netted them the in-hid turret later in the game when they were having a standoff.
Yeah, I'd say it was a level of coordination we haven't necessarily seen from CLG that much in the past. Cloud9 had a few misplays, but that was also kind of similar to what we saw yesterday when CLG played Team Impulse, was they're forcing the other team to react to them. The number of times Aphromoo came mid lane on Morgana, landed the binding onto High, and then put him in a greater deficit was too many for me to count off the top of my head. He was just landing binding after binding.
Well, maybe we can help with that. We do have a replay. We have a little video package here of the Morgana bindings that were landed during this game. We're going to pull that up on your screen for you. Just because it was such a huge factor in winning the game, both the threat of the bindings, but then the fact that he had the accuracy to hit so many of them.
Let's see how many we got here. This
roll up clip now, yeah.
This one was awesome because he knew High had nowhere to go. He did a mini step backwards because that's going to get hit by the death mark, and he cut him off this time. Every single one of these by Aphromoo were either using Fog of War and also predicting where High was going to be going. He had no vision of that. That binding was basically in the wall the entire time. He also used the minion wave. This one was just a nice shot. Again, not knowing where, or cutting the person off from where they're trying to go. If he jumps backwards, he's getting hit by Caitlyn. If he goes forwards, he gets hit by the binding.
Right, using them to zone as well. And then also utilizing the geography of the map to hide the bindings. Shooting them through turrets rather than out in the open makes it much harder for a player to react to the incoming CC.
Yeah, they're putting him in bad situations. Basically, you couldn't choose a right option. There was no right option in a lot of those situations just from dodging bindings and also playing the map.
They also had early dragon control, as Kobe pointed out, taking that early 6-minute. So I mean, that's what also is phenomenal about the way they played the game, because generally we see teams choosing between turrets and dragons. Yeah. CLG managed to take 4 turrets to 1, as well as 2 dragons in the early game.
Yeah, they got every dragon that game, and then when they forced C9, like I was saying, in bad situations, C9's like, we have to do a Baron right now. There's nothing we can really do. They came up, they stopped it. There was kind of like an even trade there, and then they had to go back to the scene of the crime. Doublelift does the last dragon as they're fighting it 4v5, and they take over the game there. So they were forcing them in really bad situations off of the plays that they made early, and then just kept perpetuating that.
To be fair, there were glimpses of the Cloud9 team fighting prowess. We do have a replay. We're going to pull it up. It's a mid-team fight where they end up trading 1-for-1, and I feel like it's the setup. It's Cloud9's setup allowing them to pick the correct fight. As you mentioned later in the games, Irene, they weren't afforded that opportunity. We're going to pull that up on your screen right now. Irene, I'll let you walk through it for us.
The big thing that actually stands out to me here is Xmithie's target selection. He goes after Balls here, and Balls is still in mini Gnar for basically the entire fight until the end where he gets a nice Gnar off. We start rolling the clip out here, and you're going to see they start grouping up High. He goes after Zion, and they get Zion in a situation where he has to blow his Zonias, and then Xmithie's like, go after Balls. Everybody's like, let's get on Balls here. Death mark on Balls. No real damage to him for the most part, and that's what ends up giving Cloud9 that early kill, is they focused a priority target, whereas Balls really isn't a priority target.
They also had a bit of the, they set it up with the poke, as you said, damaging out a priority target, so that therefore they had the option to be more of a threat in the team fight. Kind of put CLG on the back foot there. It definitely showed CLG's power, though, in that they came out of that still 1-for-1.
Well, in general, it kind of showed how the game, as clean as CLG played it, was not fully in control until they made a few nicer plays. I know the fight afterwards where they were able to kill High for killing Doublelift and took the 2 inhibitors was really the defining moment. But that one, it's not all roses for CLG. They did misplay that team fight a little bit, and there was a danger of them giving the game back to Cloud9, considering all the strong plays CLG made throughout it, from the lane swaps, the Caitlyn pick, the Zed split pushing, everything they were doing to get that lead. You got to be careful in League of Legends, because they almost messed up there.
Yeah, you had to be extremely careful. And in that fight, if they had been even in gold at that point, that would have been a fight for Cloud9, because CLG were pretty much given that wiggle room because of how well they played the early game and mid game.
Absolutely. But credit to CLG again, though, because they secured that gold lead for themselves and played the composition properly. I think that's what the big takeaway here is, that we are watching a team execute on what they decided they were going to do in Champions Select.
Yeah. I love the fact that they went with the split push as much as they could and the threat of Link in the mid lane. We're like, we're going to camp the Zed. The Zed is going to be able to deal with people, and Link actually completely just played to the win condition of Zed, kept picking off high, making his life pretty much a living hell. And every time Afro moves, like, I'm going to bind, I'm going to roam, I'm going to play this champion the way it was made to be played as a support. And then they team fought every now and then with Zion, but they kind of avoided those as much as they could against Cloud9. I thought that was exactly how you should play the composition, and it was really well done by all of CLG.
A solid win for CLG. Still a bit of a struggle here for Cloud9. But you guys, we've got more games to come today, so top off the guac, grab a drink, and meet us right back here in 3.5 for our next match, which is Dignitas versus Winter Fox. You're watching the North American LCS.
It's our first match, Counter Logic Gaming versus Cloud9. It's going to be a wonderful match. Force elimination.
Oh, wow.
Binding! So many ults, it's all it's going to take. Goodbye! He's got to outplay the death mark. Can he do it? High, dashes around, gets into the fog, and they get the kill.
Back up, back up, back up. Rumble's coming. We can do still. We can do still. Take it slow, take it slow, take it slow. Nice kill, nice kill. I'm binding right here on Nar. Nar. I'm coming long, nice ulti.
So now can they keep fighting? Limation losing so much health. Ball's likely to die from the Zed. They switch over to Sneaky. So far, Nara's dropped down. CLG fans, here's the team you guys were waiting for.